thought I had to be perfect and I need to have the perfect setup and I'll do it after I achieve a certain goal and I'll do this and I'll do that. But I realized after a near-death experience twice, and destination shouldn't be the only time you allow yourself to feel joy. You keep telling yourself you're going to enjoy the weekend, you're going to enjoy the summer break, you're going to enjoy it when you don't have this, or you're going to enjoy it when you have that, rather than just realizing that life at the end of the day is now. Tomorrow isn't promised. I also spent a very long time waiting, and then something clicked and I went to 11 countries over the span of 6 months by myself. Everything changed for me, and it wasn't an overnight change. It wasn't a 30-day challenge. It wasn't a 75 hard. It was intentional. It was slow. It was individualistic, and it was on my own terms. And that is what this channel is about. Hi, everybody. I'm Kulthum. As much as I have achieved a lot of the goals that I want in life, I still want to achieve more. And regardless of the shame and the guilt that comes with it, I want to continue building on what I already have, because I've ticked off a lot of my bucket list, but I'm not there yet. And that's okay. This is about building a life that you actually like, that doesn't feel like filler and doesn't make you feel the need to go on social media and scroll somebody else's highlight reel. To have a life that is uniquely and enjoyable to you. Not the life they tell you they want, not the life that you convinced yourself you wanted, not the life that looks so good on the outside, but rather the life that when you're sitting there in your own home on a Tuesday afternoon, drinking your matcha, you realize how grateful you are for all the small little things that do make up your life and that makes it unique. If you've already made it this far into the video, please don't forget to subscribe. So every week I'm gonna have a little bit of a sit down yapping video, because I really do love to yap, where we talk about mindset, taste, being able to find yourself and going through the motions of life, not looking at it as a checklist or a to-do list or a challenge that you have to accomplish in order to get to the other side, but to actually enjoy life for what it is, life, because it's a learning process. Nobody is at the other side. Life is the process. And we are so obsessed with achieving the other side, with getting to that destination, that we forget the essence of why we're actually here. There is no 30-day transformation. There is no overnight glow-ups. There is no timeline. It's just that slow, real, raw, and deeply personal process of becoming. Because we're so obsessed with getting there, but we don't even know what there is, and we don't actually enjoy the journey. As much as growing up we're taught, oh, it's about the journey, not the destination. How many of you actually take that seriously? I'm gonna put my hand up and I'm gonna say it wasn't me. So I know it probably wasn't you either. And trust me, I have achieved the destination. I got the degree that my high school teacher told me was impossible to get because my English wasn't good enough. I got the consulting job that people told me was impossible to get because I didn't have the network that was needed. I got the luxury bags that people told me I couldn't get because I didn't come from a wealthy background. I became a freelancer when people told me that that was the dumbest thing I could do. I was able to get on Forbes 30 under 30 for a hobby that people told me was embarrassing. And with every single achievement that I had, the goalpost just kept moving forward. I will be happy with the next one. I will be happy on the next one. I didn't give myself permission to actually enjoy the life that I already built. And then I blinked and I realized, what am I doing? Next year isn't even promised. Achieving that next goal isn't even promised. And yes, me making this YouTube channel is me going on pursuit of that next goal, but I want to document enjoying the process. I used to get such a thrill from figuring out difficult things, for figuring out my path, for actually being in that grind and trying to make things work. And then I would get to that destination and I'd be like, wow, yeah, I don't really care. I found out that I got onto Forbes 30 under 30 through a text message at 9 a.m. in the morning, looked at it, opened the list, scrolled, saw my name, posted about it on social media, and that was it. There was no sense of achievement, and that is so incredibly sad. And that was a turning point when I realized I need to change things. So I ended solo traveling around 6 months to 11 countries. I do want to highlight that this was a perk of the job that I do, and a lot of it was just work. But at the end of the 6 months, I came back into my own apartment and I sat down and I realized how over those last 6 months, it was a slow process of realizing how to live in the moment, because I never learned how to live in the moment. The biggest, probably most embarrassing realization that I had was the fact that regardless of everything that I had achieved, I still wanted more. It wasn't enough. I genuinely, my initial reaction was just shame and guilt, especially coming from a person who grew up, was on school meals, and learned to appreciate every single little thing that was given to her in life. What do you mean? I just saw 11 countries in 6 months, more than I have ever seen in my entire life combined. And I wanted more. And after I sat down with that thought for a little bit longer, I realized What if wanting more isn't wrong? What if life is always just about wanting more? And not wanting more in the sense of materialistic things, but wanting more in the sense of time with myself, time with my loved ones, having time to enjoy the beauty of life, be it a iced cold matcha from Japan on a warm autumn morning, be it the smell of the flowers and the trees and hearing the birds sing when I open the balcony door of my bedroom after I've woken up without an alarm. That is what I want more of. And that actually ultimately is the point in life, enjoying it. So after sitting there with this for another 6 months, this is kind of the conclusion that I came to. Wanting more isn't a character flaw. It's not greed. It doesn't make you a bad person. And of course, there are people who want more in the sense of they just want more financially. But the people who I admire the most are the people who want more in terms of freedom, in terms of travel, in terms of experiences, in terms of love and connection. And those people are still pursuing it, but they're doing it differently. They're not doing it with the 5 a.m., 4-hour morning routine, grind, hustle culture. They're doing it quietly in ways that aligns with themselves and their bodies and their philosophies. And most importantly, without burning themselves down in the process. I do feel like we're not taught enough about the importance of the journey, about the importance of the pursuit, about how once you do get to that destination, it is not all that you in your head cracked it up to be. And having those goals, of course, are fuels and motivators in terms of actually chasing, but that end destination is never promised. So that end destination shouldn't be the only time you allow yourself to feel joy. And that brings me to me starting this channel and what it represents to me and what I hope it represents to other people. It's me documenting, enjoying the process. For the longest time, I wanted to post on social media, but I never have because I thought I had to be perfect and I need to have the perfect setup and I'll do it after I achieve a certain goal and I'll do this and I'll do that. But I realized after a near-death experience, twice, that life actually isn't promised. Tomorrow is never promised. And I want this channel to be what younger me would have wanted to consume when I was on the path, on the journey to achieving my goals, to achieving my Forbes 30 under 30, to achieving my degree. I needed someone to tell me to stand still and to enjoy the process of achieving those things, because that's when you learn the most and that's when you get the most experiences and the most side quests and stories that you can tell as you grow older. But I didn't. And looking back at it now, I feel like I wasted a very big chunk of my life just going after goals instead of actually enjoying the process of getting to those goals. Because I think ultimately what isn't said enough is the fact that you are allowed to want the life that you want. You are allowed to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And you, most importantly, you can. That is not a bad thing. But at the same time, you also need to make sure that you focus on enjoying the process, that you don't just wake up 5 years from now with everything from that checklist that you've ever wanted and realize that, oh, but I didn't enjoy the process. And also, most importantly, your goals and your destinations and your goalposts are always going to change, and that is okay. You're allowed to want more, you're allowed to grow, you're allowed to develop as a person. I'm not the same person I was at the start of the year that I am right now. Otherwise, I wouldn't be posting. If you've already made it this far into the video, please don't forget to subscribe. Remember that you are allowed to pursue the life that you want. You are allowed to enjoy the life that you currently have. And most importantly, you should not be shrinking your goals, ambitions, wants, and needs in order to fit into a mold that society has put you in. Let me know in the comment section what your goals are and how you're going to enjoy the process rather than the goal itself. And I will see you guys next Sunday. Bye.